It was supposed to be just another slow Tuesday afternoon at Baker's Lane, the small neighborhood bakery tucked between a flower shop and a laundromat. The smell of cinnamon rolls drifted through the warm air, and the glass display glowed with rows of fresh cakes waiting for birthdays, anniversaries, and celebrations. But no one expected the door to open and reveal a tired father whose shoes were falling apart, whose jacket was worn thin, and whose eyes told a story of worry no parent should ever carry. He walked up to the counter, voice trembling, and whispered something that made the entire bakery fall silent. Do you have any expired cakes for my daughter?" And in the far corner booth, sipping his coffee quietly, a millionaire, who usually never spent time in small bakeries, heard every single word. Before we continue, if you love meaningful stories that restore your faith in humanity, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment to support the channel. You're watching True Story Tales, where every story reminds us that kindness still exists in this world. The man at the counter introduced himself softly. His name was Evan. He tried to smile, trying to look less desperate than he felt, but the bakery lights revealed everything he wanted to hide. His daughter, Lily, was turning 8 that day. 8. It was the age when a child should be wishing for balloons, candles, frosting, and friends, not wondering whether her daddy could afford a birthday cake. Evan cleared his throat again. He explained, almost apologizing with every word, that he had recently lost his job, that he had been applying everywhere, from warehouses to delivery work to grocery stores, but nothing had come through yet, that he had just $43 left and couldn't spend more than $5. But Lily had been waiting all week. She had drawn a picture of a pink cake with blue sprinkles. She had practiced blowing out candles using a flashlight because they couldn't afford real ones. He wasn't asking for a discount. He wasn't asking for charity, just an expired cake, something that would have been thrown away anyway. The young cashier, a college student named Maya, froze. She didn't know what to say. Their bakery had a strict policy. Expired items couldn't be sold or given away. The manager, hearing the request, stepped closer and shook his head. He explained politely that they couldn't hand out expired food, liability issues, company rules, and things Evan already knew too well. Evan nodded, his eyes falling to the floor. "Okay, thank you," he whispered, his voice nearly cracking. "I'm sorry for bothering you." He turned to leave, and that's when the man in the corner booth, dressed in a crisp navy suit, wearing a watch worth more than the whole bakery, stood up. The millionaire, Henry Caldwell, wasn't a regular customer. He actually owned 3 luxury restaurants downtown, a tech company, and half a dozen real estate projects. People said he could make money just by blinking, and yet today he was here, in a tiny bakery, drinking cheap coffee, because that morning Henry had signed divorce papers. His wife told him he cared more about profit margins than people, and maybe, if he was honest, she wasn't entirely wrong. He had built his empire by working non-stop, by thinking only about numbers, not relationships, not community, not kindness. But when he heard Evan's voice break as he apologized for bothering the bakery, something inside him shifted. Henry walked toward the counter and gently tapped Evan's shoulder. "Excuse me," he said. "What kind of cake does your daughter like?" Evan turned, embarrassed. He didn't want pity. He didn't want someone paying for him. He shook his head quickly. "No, sir, I'm fine. I just thought maybe—" Henry raised a hand kindly. "Please," he said softly, "tell me what she likes." Evan hesitated, then exhaled. "She likes strawberry, with lots of sprinkles." Henry smiled. "Good. Then that's what she'll get." He turned to the stunned cashier and said, "I'd like your biggest strawberry cake, fresh, and add extra sprinkles." Maya blinked, nodding quickly, but Henry wasn't done. "And pack a box of 8 cupcakes too," he added. "Pink frosting." He looked back at Evan. "For Lily's friends," he said. Evan's eyes widened. I can't accept that. I don't even know your name." Henry extended a hand. "Henry, and I'm not doing you a favor. I'm helping a father celebrate his daughter. That's what matters." Evan swallowed hard. "But I can't pay you back." Henry shook his head. "You already did," he said. "You reminded me of something important." When the bakery finished packing everything, Henry asked if he could drop Evan off. Evan hesitated again, pride tugging one way, gratitude tugging the other. He finally nodded. They walked outside, and Evan stopped in surprise at the sight of Henry's sleek black SUV. He had never sat in a car that clean, that shiny, that expensive. During the ride, Henry asked about his job loss, about Lily, about life. Evan apologized several times for talking too much, but Henry encouraged him. For once, Henry felt like he was listening, Not to clients, not to employees, not to investors, but to a real human story, a story that mattered. They reached a small apartment complex with peeling paint and squeaking doors. When they climbed the stairs, Henry noticed that the hallway smelled faintly of old carpet and laundry detergent. Evan knocked softly. The door swung open, and there she was. Lily, with her brown curls, bright eyes, and a smile missing 2 front teeth. "Daddy, you're home," she said, jumping into his arms. Then she spotted the cake box. "What's that?" Evan's eyes filled with tears. He tried to blink away. "It's your birthday cake, sweetheart," Lily gasped. "A real cake? With sprinkles?" Her voice shook with excitement. Evan nodded. Henry watched, his heart tightening. He had thrown parties worth thousands of dollars for adults who barely cared. Yet here, in this tiny hallway, a child looked at a simple cake as if it were the greatest treasure in the world. Lily noticed Henry standing behind her father. "Hi, are you Daddy's friend?" she asked. Evan hesitated. Henry answered first. "I am now." Lily grinned and invited them inside. The apartment was tiny. One old couch, a wobbly table, drawings taped to the wall, but it felt warm, safe, loved. Lily carefully opened the cake box and squealed in happiness. "It's so pretty. Daddy, look, pink sprinkles." Evan wiped his eyes, embarrassed, but Henry pretended not to notice. Lily insisted on singing herself happy birthday, loud and off-key. She blew out the candles, real candles, her face glowing. Then she handed Henry a cupcake. "This one's for you," she said, "because you're Daddy's new friend, and because you helped." Henry froze. He hadn't been offered something so genuine, so pure in years. He accepted the cupcake slowly, feeling his throat tighten. "Thank you, Lily," he whispered. Before Henry left, he pulled out a small card and placed it on the kitchen counter. "This is for you, Evan," he said. "Come by my office tomorrow morning." Evan frowned. "What for?" Henry smiled. "I own some businesses, and I need someone like you. Someone who loves his family enough to do anything. Someone who doesn't give up." Evan stared at him, speechless. "You mean a job?" Henry nodded. "A good one, with benefits and stability. Let's start a new chapter for you and Lily." Evan covered his face with his hands, overwhelmed. "I don't know how to thank you," he whispered. Henry replied gently, "You already did. You reminded me what kindness looks like." The next morning, Evan showed up at Henry's office, shirt ironed, hopeful, ready. Henry hired him on the spot, and over time they became not just employer and employee, but genuine friends. Every year after that, Henry delivered Lily's birthday cake himself, fresh, pink, with extra sprinkles, because sometimes the smallest act of kindness, a cake, a ride, a conversation, can change someone's entire story. And sometimes, the person giving kindness is changed just as deeply as the one receiving it. So the next time you see someone struggling, remember this. Kindness doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be given. Be the reason someone believes in good again. Because kindness always comes back.